2019 Mini Countryman SUV review. Given which the first Countryman wasn't that good together with delusions of grandeur, Mini could be hard pushed not to ever significantly make improvements to it on this second generation outing. Happily, it's got succeeded. Rivaling the kind of Audi's Q2, the Mercedes-Benz GLA, the BMW X1 and, perhaps, the Mazda CX-3 or Jeep Renegade, the revolutionary Countryman has swollen further in all directions. It's 200 millimeters longer, and also wider and taller than its predecessor. Watch which Countryman in the event you buy. Whereas that first effort resembled nothing more than a mini hatchback on stilts, this blog actually boasts pretensions of styling. Roof rails are fitted as standard, with matching door sill trim, along with the brand's trademark round headlamps are shunned towards an unusual blob. Vast improvement inside. The new tailgate is smaller, and it is now both power and foot operated, aforementioned involving you waving a shoe around beneath the rear bumper to spread out it up. The tidy loader space volume offers some 100 liters greater than before, and contains a nifty option lurking underneath the floor, a picnic bench which folds out without fuss to supply a padded cushion on what to perch while changing into the walking boots, with an extra anti-dog claw flap of fabric to protect the sill paintwork. On board, most of the symphony of plastics which dominated the very first Countryman may be replaced by next-generation Mini fittings, for example the latest center console X speedometer walk, now housing a range of 6.5 or 8.8-inch multi-information screens, these, a possibility, presenting touch-screen capability. Mini claims how the new Countryman improves within the standard equipment numbers of its predecessor on the tune of some £1,900. New free kit includes such goodies as being the roof rails, sat-nav, a rear-view camera, 17-inch alloys, Bluetooth and DAB radio and cruise control. Large suite of engines to select from. Under the bonnet, an all-turbo, 4-engine range includes 1.5-litre, 136 horsepower, 3-cylinder and S-branded 2.0-litre, 192 horsepower, 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engines, and also a 2.0-litre diesel perfect for 150 horsepower in standard guise and 190 horsepower while using S-appended. All power plants can be mated either to 6-speed manual or 8-speed automatic transmissions, the second available with optional flappy paddles. Every variant is also provided by all-4 all-wheel drive competent at directing as much as 100% of torque either to the front or rear wheels. Mini Countryman vs Volkswagen T-Roc vs Audi Q2. There's also Mini's single plug-in hybrid model, the Cooper S E ALL4, which combines the 1.5-litre petrol engine and electric motor chance to deliver range-topping performance of 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds, while, like all plug-in hybrids, boasting hilarious fuel utilization of 134.5 miles per gallon. The automatic gearbox is an effective fit for your larger, family-oriented almost all the Countryman, with smooth, relaxed changes. Drives just like a Mini should. Helped using a slightly longer wheelbase, the ride's much better than before, however, not great. Though an indication more suppleness continues to be built in, there's still an offer of bump thump and also the car never really settles, its restlessness on poor surfaces especially noticeable at pottering speeds. The steering feels meaty regardless of weather maneuvering, but that weight is much more pleasing as speeds rise and seems a fitting accompaniment to the modern found almost all the car. Given its greater heft and added ground clearance, it's not surprised to discover which the Countryman handles quite definitely in the manner of an fat hatchback, all-wheel drive adding useful dollops of additional grip and traction. The manifold shortcomings of the initial fully fat Mini didn't manage to deter buyers. Over 500,000 units were sold worldwide between 2010 and 2016, nearly 80,000 from the UK, the brand's liveliest marketplace, alone. Mini Countryman lineup revised in 2019. Along together with the rest in the Mini range, the Countryman lineup was presented a tweak late in 2019 to add new trim levels, Classic, Sport and Exclusive. Instead of having confusing engine and option packs available, buyers now pick an electric train engine, then one from the 3 new trim levels, as well as any extra options just like you would primarily other cars. Vast amount of powertrains to select from. Should be something for everybody. Plug-in hybrid made available. Performance is served up using a range of turbocharged engines, both petrol and diesel, in a variety of power outputs, meaning there needs to be something for some buyers, whether you desire something more frugal, something like that performance-focused. Twin-power turbo petrol engines, Cooper and Cooper S. Kicking over petrol range will be the Cooper, powered using a 1.5-litre 3-cylinder turbo producing 136 horsepower and 220 Nm of torque. It's great for a 0 to 62 mph sprint use of 9.6 seconds, and definitely will reach a premier speed of 126 mph when fitted with all the 6-speed manual gearbox. Opting with the 8-speed auto takes the very best speed right down to 124 mph. Opting for the Cooper ALL4 nets you an identical engine, power and torque outputs, but together with the reassurance of all-wheel drive traction. The 0 to 62 mph time drops to 9.8 seconds, while top speed is 122 mph. This is provided by manual or auto gearboxes. Providing an extremely higher power output would be the 192 horsepower Cooper S, powered by the 2.0-litre turbo. Torque is rated at 280 Nm, and sprints from 0 to 62 mph in 7.5 seconds, 7.4 seconds for that auto, that has a maximum top speed of 140 mph. Watch, Mini Countryman Cooper vs Cooper S, that is right for you? Again, a Cooper S ALL4 is accessible for all-wheel drive security, this time using a faster 0 to 62 mph duration of 7.3 seconds with the manual and 7.2 seconds to the auto. Top speed is 138 mph. Despite the performance figures, this type of version with the Countryman feels less exciting than you could possibly expect, taking longer to whir into life whenever you put your foot down. Although the automobile gearbox is smooth enough, no particular urgency is felt or heard till the Turbo Happens song, at which the Countryman moves along less than smartly enough to substantiate the claimed performance figures. Happily, all is basically quiet and composed at the cruise, as well as the powertrain never runs from oomph on gradients at motorway speeds, without excessive recourse to downshifts. One diesel option, Cooper D. The variety of diesel engines mimics those on the petrols, at the very least in terms of naming structure. The Cooper D would be the entry point towards the diesel range, powered using a 2.0-litre turbodiesel unit producing 150 horsepower and 330 Nm of torque. The 0 to 62 mph sprint is dealt with in 8.9 seconds, which has a manual gearbox fitted, while the car takes 8.8 seconds. Top speed is 129 mph for both. An all-wheel drive version is usually available from the form in the Cooper D ALL4, with very slightly improved performance figures. It'll range from 0 to 62 mph in 8.8 seconds in manual form, and 8.7 seconds with all the automatic gearbox fitted. Top speed is 127 mph. On the move, the 2-main.0-litre diesel engine feels greater than up towards the task of hauling the Countryman along, with torque delivered smoothly and cleanly, for overtaking maneuvers. Traction on the ALL4 system aids in clean pullaways, too, although it remains hushed and rarely becomes too coarse, even at high revs. John Cooper Works provides all the more performance. At the pinnacle on the Countryman range with regard to performance would be the John Cooper Works ALL4. Powered by the 2.0-litre turbo petrol, it creates 231 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque, driven through all four wheels along with a 6-speed manual gearbox as standard. The 0 to 62 mph time is only 6.5 seconds, plus the car should go on to a premier speed of 145 mph. Opting to the automatic version in the JCW doesn't change any in the performance figures. Plug-in hybrid attracts company car drivers. At an even more sensible end on the range, a minimum of in terms of economy, will be the plug-in hybrid Countryman Cooper S E ALL4. It combines the 136 horsepower 1.5-litre turbo in the Cooper by having an electric motor producing roughly the same as 88 horsepower, setting up a total system production of 224 horsepower and 385 Newton-meters of torque. It'll move from 0 to 62 miles per hour in mere 6.8 seconds, so that it is the second fastest Countryman following full-fat JCW. The ALL4 system supplies the traction, plus the ability to get this model the Mini efficient at running like a rear-wheel drive. That's because there's no prop shaft with the ALL4 system. Instead, electric motors power the spine wheels, so whenever you're driving on battery pack alone, it's only rear-wheel drive. The rest from the time, the engine powers top wheels, depending on what of the e-drive modes you've selected to push in. There's an e-boost function, which uses battery pack in reserve to offer extra oil-fat speeds above 78 miles per hour, where laws permit. Otherwise, it could run in auto e-drive mode, which runs on the combination of petrol engine and battery capacity to provide the propulsion, while battery save mode stores battery chance to use later. One example is in an urban environment. In auto e-drive mode, the Countryman switches seamlessly between running on engine and electrical energy, remaining refined continually. It's nippy too, due to instant torque available through the electric motor, and lives around its Cooper S badge to be a result. Fully charged, the plug-in hybrid will travel for as much as 26 miles on power supply alone and also at speeds of as much as 78 miles per hour, and produces just 49 grams/km of CO2. However, it could vary based on how you're driving. Putting your foot down continuously will see that electric batteries deplete rapidly, so it's best available use in town where this version really enters into its own. Engines not available. Dropped from your lineup in 2019 will be the Cooper SD. Providing more performance as opposed to Cooper D, but remaining economical, it's powered by the 190 horsepower version from the same 2.0-litre diesel. Torque is rated at the hefty 400 Newton-meters, providing a good amount of punch for overtaking maneuvers, while 0 to 62 miles per hour is dispatched in 7.7 seconds. And it'll go on to a top-notch speed of 137 miles per hour. This could be the only Countryman not provided with a manual gearbox. The Cooper S E ALL4's 0 to 62 miles per hour time falls to 7.4 seconds, and can reach 135 miles per hour, good body control and little roll. Feels agile due to its size. All four models add grip and traction. Mini has spent a lot of money and time making sure front McPherson strut and pricey multi-link rear suspension systems guarantee its cars handle with a lot more than a passing nod towards the energy on the original Mini. And happily, despite a good degree of added bloat on the stock hatchback, the Countryman acquits itself with satisfactory aplomb. Given its extra height and ground clearance, the Countryman's never going to contain the feeling of dudding agility that we've grown familiar with in the Mini hatchback. However, it corners tidily, with less roll than expected and good body control. All-wheel drive adds useful levels of added grip and traction in foul weather, though standing water will still throw it briefly outside of kilter. Overall, the Countryman is one with the best handling crossovers on sale on account of its tidy body control and confidence-inspiring driving manners. It also helps you sit low in the auto, rendering it feel more such as a regular hatchback compared to a proper SUV. Cockpit is pure Mini with many different character. Much easier to navigate than old model. Still fussy for a lot of, driving position won't suit all. Mini points to your strong penetration of Britishness it offers being able to keep in its home design, discussing such details because toggle switchgear, upholstery stitching, reduced dashboard knee rolls as degrees of detailing you'd never find in a very German car. Form over function. That's acceptable, but we ponder whether the haphazard filter instrument and switchgear placement isn't another thing we wouldn't find within a German car. Gleefully shedding the plastic fantastic of old, the dashboard of the brand new Countryman has become laden with stock, latest generation Mini model range kit. Mini aficionados are going to be delighted, but, to your uninitiated eye, there appears to be almost no homogeny here, almost like individual components are already styled in separate rooms before meeting for the very first time fully briefed. A pity, since the quality of fit and handle seems a tremendous step change, much better than that of its predecessor, whether or not the quantity of switchgear seems overwhelming on first contact. Infotainment is slick and to operate, mostly. The central wok still dominates the dashboard, but not boasts a speedometer that has a face that might pass muster over a grandfather clock. Instead, it plays host for the latest generation of Mini's infotainment screens, a 6.5-inch unit fitted as standard, plus an option 8.8-inch unit, which, for the very first time, boasts touchscreen operation and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The latter is often a blessing, considering that the central armrest makes accessing the rotary control mounted immediately before it uncomfortable, as it's set low down within the center console behind the gear lever. However, spend slightly time inside the Countryman and you'll quickly study the ins and outs. The infotainment product is derived from BMW's iDrive, meaning it's easy to control, in spite of the many menus, and you will forgive how much similar looking buttons and toggle switches because, no less than, they're interesting. You can't beat a starter button that glows red before you start the vehicle. Lots of adjustment inside seats. Plenty of space to obtain comfortable. Firm suspension compromises ride. Once you've hiked the seat up a reasonable degree to view over that imposing cliff of a dashboard, the driving position, along with the front seats themselves, are perfectly comfortable. The wheel adjusts for reach and rake, and it is, whenever you can find a little bit of it, not plagued by switchgear to support, fashionable, well-sized, comfortable fit. Not all drivers will discover it's very easy to get comfortable quickly, though, when we found out with this long-term Mini Countryman. The pedals feel far for those with smaller legs, especially noticeable once you need to depress the clutch, which could lead you to feeling too close to your wheel simply to be able to reach. In turn, you may want to move the seat up higher, which feels fine with regard to visibility, then again you're jacked up high over the dashboard and center console, making things tough to reach. Take a serious amount of adjust the seat, tire and mirrors to discover the perfect position, though, when you may find yourself making small adjustments for the move if you undertake it within a hurry. Plenty of space in bigger cabin. Some 75mm of additional length adjusted into the wheelbase of the newest Countryman, and the majority of it has become dedicated to welcome extra knee room for rear seat passengers. The sliding rear seat benches split 60 hours 40 minutes whilst the folding seat backs are split 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds. Mini claims 5-seat status for that Countryman, but possibly not great for long journeys. The car's pretty quiet while cruising, with road noise and, predictably in the upright stance in the windscreen, wind noise vying for dominance inside a cabin which requires merely a modest hike in voice volume to permit conversation at motorway speeds. Harsh ride compromises comfort. All ones would prove more admirable were the automobile not upset by its ride quality. Every single version within the Countryman range is badged Cooper, leaving nagging suspicion that everything has become wound a touch too tight inside undercarriage department to guarantee a higher level handling worthy with the moniker. And that's okay should you be flying along with a respectable road surface, but at gentler, family car speeds the Countryman simply won't settle down. Even the fair amount of bump and thump over larger divots and ruts would prove acceptable were it not to the constant fidgeting in the body on far from mirror smooth surfaces. Irritating. Generous equipment list as standard. Even more for being added at expense. Don't go too wild together with your spending. Mini says that standard equipment levels are already bolstered by £1,900 worth of extras compared together with the previous Countryman, making affordability much superior to before. Standard Mini Countryman SUV equipment. A standard Mini Countryman comes together with the following kit. Alloy wheels. Sat-nav, together with navigation pack with Apple CarPlay. DAB radio. Bluetooth phone connectivity. Air conditioning. Keyless start. Rear view camera. Cruise control. Roof rails. Automatic lights and wipers. 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds split folding rear seats. From here, you choose between 3 styles: Classic, Sport and Exclusive. Classic features standard equipment and styling, while Sport adds a John Cooper Works body kit with upgraded 18-inch alloy wheels and interior detailing. The Exclusive could be the range topper with chrome exterior and interior trims and full leather interior. Optional Mini Countryman SUV accessories. The options list is to put in a bewildering array of additional equipment that can add a large amount to your price of your vehicle if you don't control yourself. Many are bundled into packs that are expensive but represent a saving over seeking the options individually. Navigation Plus Pack, previously called Media Pack XL, adds a wider infotainment screen, a much more advanced sat-nav system with 3D mapping, connected services, access to the internet for searches, wireless charging and also a 20 GB hard disk. Comfort Pack, rear parking sensors, climate control, heated seats, storage compartment pack, passenger seat height adjustment. Comfort Plus Pack, all on the above, plus rear view camera, folding and auto-dimming mirrors, front sensors and self-parking. Driving Assistant Pack, active cruise control. Mini Activity Pack, larger fuel tank, electric tailgate, nets to the boot, adjustment for your rear seats, picnic bench from the boot. The options bundled into packages cannot be specified individually, but ones you can go for include keyless entry, panoramic sunroof, tinted windows, head-up display, Harman Kardon stereo upgrade and LED lights. 5-star Euro NCAP crash safety rating. More kit is usually added at extra expense. Makes for safe family transport. The Mini Countryman has performed well in Euro NCAP crash tests, achieving a 5-star rating. The standard collision warning with city brake function may be extended to add a driving assistant package which uses camera-based adaptive cruise control, as well as comes with high beam assist and traffic sign recognition. In addition, useful features like parking sensors and reversing camera might make life easier, while a head-up display keeps your vision more focused around the road. Boot bigger before. Longer wheelbase means more space. Quirky interior, a mini hallmark. The new Mini Countryman is 20 cm longer overall than your vehicle it replaces, using a 7.5 cm growth within the wheelbase. That means extra room inside cabin for passengers and luggage. Watch, will my children fit? We test the passenger space of the Mini Countryman Cooper. Up front there's more headroom than before on account of a higher roofline. The dashboard may be the usual mini fare, using a large central speedo with widescreen for that infotainment system sitting inside middle. It's a quirky design that's attracting look at, although it's not probably the most ergonomic, with random buttons dotted about all in the place. However, once familiarized together with the layout, it's pretty simple to use, plus the infotainment system is a far more fun-looking version of BMW's slick iDrive system, controlled using a rotary controller. There's enough space beforehand with lots of adjustment from the seats, although the upright windscreen normally takes a little getting familiar with compared with regular crossovers. The higher ride height means visibility is a useful one, but cars with darker tinted rear windows will spot the difference. Mini Countryman, rear seat space. Bigger changes have fallen in a corner, where there's easier access than before due to wider doors, even though the seats slip back and forth 13 cm plus the backrests will tilt, too. This means adults will fit with ease along with a long journey won't cause any aching backs as a result of a very generous level of legroom. There's a generous level of headroom, too, because of the high, squared-off figure. The backrests split and fold 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds, to help you configure it how you will like according to whether you prioritize legroom over boot space and or vice versa. Mini Countryman, boot space. Standard capacity is 450 liters with the Countryman, that's 100 liters, a lot more than the previous car. This may be increased 1,390 liters by folding a corner seats flat. That's a 220-liter total increase within the previous generation model. That causes it to be much more competitive, which consists of crossover rivals such as Audi Q2, Nissan Qashqai and Renault Kadjar, but it can't quite match around cars much like the Seat 8 having its 510-liter load space. Extra storage packs might be added, like one that adds a variable height boot floor and fixings to lash down items from the boot, while access is not hard on higher-spec models through an optional electric tailgate which could be opened by waving your foot underneath the rear bumper. You can also have a picnic bench fold out on the boot floor and perch within the rear of the Countryman for people days with the races. The Countryman is with a par having its compact SUV rivals in relation to size, not necessarily living around its name. That said, it's pretty simple to maneuver into small spaces simply because of its squared-off shape and upright windows. Where you would possibly struggle is judging exactly where the top of your vehicle is. Be sure you add parking sensors, and in case you're sitting particularly low down. However, the mirrors are big so that it is easier when parking, and around the road it feels much smaller than its size suggests. Boot space has brought a huge leap forward in the previous Countryman, with 100 liters more space to be had, while more flexible features such as being a split-level boot floor plus a variety of nets help to keep smaller components off check. Storage inside the auto is good too, with a good amount of cubbies throughout the center console and reasonable-sized door bins present and correct.